Hello my friend, welcome to a new episode of my fat loss journey series. A few weeks ago I finally reached the next milestone of losing 15 pounds, and that has been a really fun journey, and I thought I will again share a bit what helped me to get there, learnings, challenges, all of the good stuff. So let's get started with that. First thing is probably talking about intuitive eating, because I do see I'm gravitating from mindful eating more into intuitive eating, not really thinking a lot about food, not thinking about how to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. It's just like the other day I had quite a big portion of pasta, and there was just one point I'm like, I'm done, okay, put it away. I still would say there are some foods that it's a bit easier, and then if it's something that I haven't that often, then it might be a bit more tricky. But I also could see when we were, for example, we were on vacation, we had this huge pizza and half of it, and I'm like, I'm done, the rest I can just take with me. And it really also depends a bit on that. Do I know I can eat it later because it still will taste good, or is it like only chance to get it is now, and then I might tend to eat a bit more? But it has really slowed down how much I'm thinking about food. What I would say this particular week has been really challenging. I have also my first overeat again, and I feel like I could work a bit more on mindful eating again, doing some of the journaling exercise that I got in the course I had purchased. And I think that that's something I kind of want to continue with and focusing a bit more on going into the next 2 weeks. But all in all, I'm really, I feel very grateful because my body is just losing the weight slowly and steady. It is a very clear pattern of 1 week I lose weight, and then next week I gain a bit, and then I lose weight more and then gain. So it's very clearly that I have some weeks that I lose weight and some that I gain a bit, or I wouldn't even call it gaining. I think it's stabilizing, and so far I don't have any kind of side effects of the weight loss. It's really slowly and sustainably, and yeah, I think I really would like to be below 70 kilos until my birthday, but it's also it's so arbitrary, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of stuck in my mind. Yeah. Another thing that I've really learned to embrace is the ebbs and flows of life, and that there are times where it is easier to listen to your body, and then the other times where it might be a bit harder. So currently I have a knee injury, and when you spend a lot of time on the sofa watching Netflix, it's like, do we have some chips? Oh, that cake looks good. Can we have something else? Should I order pizza? So there's a lot of that. I'm practicing now just to eat at the table here and not eating while watching TV. But it's also something I know it's not for always. It is sliding a bit back into old habits, but yeah, there are times where you can lose weight a lot, where everything's working really well, and then you have weeks and maybe months that are not that well. So, and that's okay. I've had, for example, being on vacation, obviously I didn't know how the weight loss progressed in that week because I didn't weigh myself, and I just enjoyed my food, and I knew that it was more fast food that week, so I probably would be up, and I was when I came back. But I just let my body do its thing. As soon as I come back, I don't even try to get down to the number I did before. It's just yeah, it's going by itself in a way. So very grateful for that. And I do see that's where I have worked a lot on trusting my body and let it lead in these situations. One thing I do realize is still extremely important is regulating my nervous system on a daily basis. I do that with meditation and yoga and journaling and, for example, taking rest when I'm coming back home. But there are periods where I need to be a bit more focused on that, and then other periods where it's a bit flowing a bit by itself. But it really helps me to make good decisions, and that's why it's kind of like the basis for me. Definitely it's the basis for having a good day in a way. Also on vacation I tried trauma release exercise, which was a very fascinating experience. I have tried it now once at home. I think now I feel ready to do it by myself, and I think it's really, really cool. So that's also something where I feel like, oh, there's something leaving my body that I stay a bit stuck. And sometimes I think when there are a lot of emotions, it might be still easy for me to numb them with food, or maybe not paying so much attention. I realized now in the past weeks I didn't really check in if I was hungry when I went to lunch. I just went and ate. And I remember a colleague asked me, oh, are you already done? I had eaten so fast and everyone else was still eating. So that maybe is a good reminder to check in and make me taking a bit slower next week. So that's kind of like a goal for next week. But I would say what's really important in this whole thing is to learn to be kind to yourself, not rushing things that you're not ready for. Slowly, small steps, and you will get there. Patience is obviously a virtue that is very helpful in that endeavor. And probably just trusting the process. Last thing that has helped me a lot is still being in balance365. This month I get coached every week, but usually I go to group coaching twice a month, and it really helps to kind of like keep going, having somebody to check in with you. You can also make an agreement with the coach that the coach will check in with you within the next week or so. So that's really helpful to kind of like keep you going, but also celebrating your progress. Sometimes when you're a bit stuck, you don't see that. And troubleshooting, obviously, if it's not continuing. And I'm so grateful for Balance365 because it's a really lovely atmosphere. The coaches are so nice. I have been coached now several times by Jen, and I love her. May I say that? So yeah, I'm really happy how it's going at the moment. So now I'm working on getting to the next milestone, which will be then 20 pounds, which is crazy. It's like, I would say I already reached 159.5, so I was only like 1.5 pounds away from it. But the past week or so I kind of like regressed a bit, so it will take a few weeks definitely to get there. But yeah, we're not in a rush. We can take our time. I do see where I can work on at the moment, just sitting and eating instead of eating on the couch. And I mean, there are days where you're injured or you're sick or you're emotionally really raw and you're just not able to work so much on your health, and that's okay. We have times like that. And I'm looking forward to what's coming next. I do see that my body image has improved so much, and I've seen a few pictures of me from February, and I see a big difference. I definitely see that my body image is much better in following with me, while it wasn't the same case when I did my first weight loss journey. I always felt like, oh, I need to lose more and lose more and lose more, and now it feels a bit more like, yeah, my body will let me know when we have reached a point where it's not going further. And I feel grateful for the body that I have now, and I feel grateful for the body that I had in February, and I feel grateful for the body that I will get maybe in a year or so. So I think that's a very different mindset, and I'm very grateful for that, because it makes the whole thing so much easier when you don't feel like, oh, you have to be ready for summer, getting a bikini body or whatever, or I don't know, going to a wedding or something like that. It really helps you to ride the waves and they will come anyway. So yeah, makes it much easier. And because it's not the biggest focus of my life, I have time and energy to focus on other things and other goals. I remember the last time I did the weight loss journey, it was all I worked on. So when you have setbacks, they hurt way more than if they're just one of the 10 goals that I had for this year. It's a very different approach because of that. So, and obviously see that a lot of healthy habits stuck with me. Some unhealthy ones slipped back, so you have to keep that as a reminder. Oh yeah, you gotta work on that. But it's not like, oh, you're back to square one. You just have setbacks. That's part of the journey, and take it as a learning lesson, and you can do better. Thank you so much for joining me on this little talk. I hope you have a wonderful summer. It is beautiful outside, and I can't wait to open the windows here because it's so nice, and fresh air, and I love life, and I hope you love life too. Have a wonderful Sunday. I see you next week. Bye bye.